Today, on this great Memorial Day, we first give honor to God for watching over our nation. He has watched over our nation from sea to sea, coast to coast, and as a matter of fact, the entire world. We honor Him today because He's an almighty God and great God. On this Memorial Day, we also honor the memory of our great veterans of our military. They have worked tirelessly to cover us with love, to cover us with protection, to watch over us while we are asleep and while we work. We honor the memory of all those who have died and who have gone before us. We thank God for them and their service. May God bless their memory.
And we would also like to thank all those first responders, those who go out day in and day out to serve us, those who care for the sick during this time of pandemic. We are going through unprecedented times, and we would also like to thank those first responders who are assisting us so that we can live a healthy life. Not only the nurses and doctors, but each and every one, those truck drivers, those military, those who go from day to day on their jobs to keep us safe and healthy. We thank God for each and every one of them.
We also would like to honor and thank God for our awesome mayor, Mayor Jason, for great leadership here in the city of Dunellen. We thank God for him. We thank God for the council, everyone in the council. We thank God for our business community. We thank God for our people of faith and all the residents of Dunellen. We have joined together in doing an awesome COVID-19 pop-up food drive. And through the great leadership of our mayor, what an awesome blessing it was to help those in need. So on this great Memorial Day, we thank God for all His goodness. And together we want to say, may God bless our nation. May God bless America.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for observing Memorial Day. I'm Jason Salento, Mayor of Dunellen, and today, I'd like to recognize our veterans and neighbors during these uncertain and challenging times. Specifically, I'd like to acknowledge how much we've learned from the men and women in our armed forces. They've taught us how to face the challenges of today without fear and with hope. Memorial Day is an American holiday observed on the last Monday of May. A day where we honor the men and women who have died while serving in the United States military. Each year on Memorial Day, Dunellen residents from all walks of life participate in a parade which starts at the American Legion Post 119 and concludes here at Washington Memorial Park. Boys and Girl Scouts, veterans, service club members, school clubs, and families join to honor our fallen heroes. Unlike past years, Memorial Day 2020 will be observed in a different way. Of course, the day is still dedicated to the memory of those who fought and died to preserve our nation. Their sacrifices ensure our liberty, a debt we can only hope to repay by living up to our American values, helping our neighbors, being kind to one another, celebrating our nation's diverse identity, practicing our own ways of worship, and loving our families. The current crisis that faces our borough, county, state, nation, and our entire world calls for a reinvented way of reflecting on ourselves and those who fought and died to maintain our very livelihood. Indeed, the battle lines of history, so vividly represented by the monuments in Dunellen's own Washington Memorial Park, are shifting daily as new categories of heroes emerge. Alongside the heroic men and women of our Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Coast Guard are frontline fighters against an unseen yet seemingly relentless enemy, COVID-19. These new warriors are the doctors, nurses, police officers, EMTs, firefighters, hospital workers, nursing home personnel, grocery store clerks, government workers, educators, postal workers, and curbside waitstaff, They are women and men who risk their health and lives so the essential services of government and society can carry on. I am encouraged by these individuals who remind us that there is a life beyond COVID-19. And just like the soldiers on a battlefield, these heroes remind us that our way of life is worth fighting for. Although we are living in an uncertain period of our nation's history, we have been faced with worse. Yet, as history has proven, I know we will persevere. It's true that we have a ways to go before we emerge from our current crisis. Yet, therein lies opportunity. The opportunity to live up to the American standard. Opportunity often presents itself in the darkest of hours, when circumstances demand an alteration in our behavior. A revolution in our thinking follows. Over the past few months, I have witnessed selfless acts of courage. I've observed families becoming closer, neighbors looking after neighbors. I've felt a new appreciation for the essential workers who play a crucial role in maintaining our civilization. These acts of kindness and community reflect the very least we can do as Americans to live up to our beloved American values. The very same society our fallen soldiers fought and continue to fight for. We are Americans after all, and we face adversity head on. And now the most profound lesson of Memorial Day emerges. As the men and women of our armed forces are a band of brothers and sisters, we, as a people, during this time can learn from them and know that we are strongest when we come together. The examples of our past can be our solace today, in knowing that we shall prevail. Those who sacrificed their lives for our freedoms did so we may stand here today, regardless of how dire circumstances are, to enjoy our freedoms. Let's be uplifted in knowing that as a community, state, and country, we are all stronger together. Even though at this time, together means apart. We will come out of this stronger than before. Let this Memorial Day be a remembrance of how past heroes overcame our enemies and how their service to country will be an example of how we, as a determined and united people, can defeat our new and invisible enemy. God bless you. God bless the men and women who sacrificed their lives for our freedoms. And God bless the United States of America.
Hello, I'm Mayor Patrick Basio of Greenbrook. My thanks goes out to Dunellen Mayor Salento for inviting me to provide this Memorial Day message. It's very important for us to remember our fallen heroes even during these difficult times. I also thank the members of the American Legion and the veterans of foreign wars. Their continued support of our veterans is greatly appreciated. Each Memorial Day, we are called to give thanks and pay tribute to those who have lost their lives serving the United States of America in her armed forces. Throughout our history, Americans have answered the call to defend our nation and to defend our rights. They have done so without reservation, by placing themselves in harm's way and sacrificing their lives when necessary to protect the freedoms we have secured. We are called to commemorate these men and women who have paid the ultimate price to preserve our ideals, rights, and freedoms afforded us in our nation. The families of those who have been lost also deserve a place of honor. In their loss of a loved one, they also serve in quiet heroism. Our servicemen and women represent the best within the American people. They are our nation's finest citizens. We as a nation are better and more secure due to their service. I ask you to join me in honoring these heroes on this Memorial Day. I also pray for the safe return home to their families of all our men and women who are currently deployed. Let us answer the call to keep the fallen in our minds and their families and their friends in their hearts. Not just for today, but throughout the year, for it is their collective sacrifices that have helped keep our country safe and free. As long as we continue to honor them with our actions and remember their sacrifices, they will never be forgotten. In closing, my thanks go out to all the police, fire, EMS, healthcare workers, and all the first responders on the front line of the fight against the COVID-19 disease. Thank you, stay safe, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Hi everybody, my name is Art Taylor, past State Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Without a Memorial Day, we cannot have it. It is important to us on this day to have some kind of service. And I gotta thank the mayor and his assistant for putting this on this way. It's not our usual way. We did not have a parade. We did not have the crowd, which is okay. This is fine. But I'd like to thank everybody that watches this or sees this. Today we honor a very special group of American men and women who served our country and who have given their lives in that service. Since those first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord in the Revolutionary War, over 1 million Americans have died in defense of our liberty and freedom. In peacetime and in war, those Americans answered our national call and defense of American way of life. In honoring them today, we recognize those dedication, courage, and sacrifices. We also celebrate the freedom they have given us. Thank you. Those were people who much the same as we are. They had the same dreams, hope, and ambition. But when called upon, they put aside their personal interest and answered a higher calling. In dying for our country, they passed on to us a legacy of liberty and freedom. And they also passed on to us a commitment to preserve what they had died for. It's a commitment that each of us must take part in fulfilling. It's a commitment to America. For over 200 years, we have taken part in the government laid down in the Constitution, and we have enjoyed our freedom guaranteed by the Bill of Rights. In doing so, we have lived the dreams of the foundation of our country. Those Americans who defended centuries of tyranny, which they declare the Declaration of Independence, we hold those truths to be self-evidence that all Americans are created equal. with certain unalienable rights, of which our life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Together, these documents are the roots of America, and then one find the character of American, a character of determination to be free and remain free. Such was a character of the people who honor today. And when we, the living, fulfill our commitment as citizens of this country, we make America, living America, to their dedication, courage, and sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Good morning to everyone listening today in recognition and honor of all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation. At this time, I would like everyone to have a moment of silence for this COVID-19 pandemic and all of our heroes. Thank you. Throughout the years of all the wars on the battlefields have been our heroes. These brave men and women died so we can continue to cherish the things that we love: freedom, country, and family. This day, we remember their selfless dedication as they gave the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefields. Also, during this coronavirus pandemic, we have a new group of heroes on the battlefield. They are the first responders, healthcare professionals who are saving others, risking their own lives while doing so. These heroes are now on two battlefields: our military fighting in other countries, and then we have the groups of men and women who are on the home front. They are first responders, healthcare professionals, grocers, delivery personnel, and many, many others. Again, we must remember, some gave some and some gave all. This really represents the diverse fabric of our country from every ethnicity and background. All of these heroes have taken an oath to fight and die for the freedom at home and abroad. So this Memorial Day, we will continue to honor those who fell in battle and all of those workers at home who sacrificed their lives while serving others. May God bless them. May God bless you for remembering them here today. And God bless America. And please be safe. Thank you.
Every year, we come together as a community for Memorial Day. This day is not about military veterans. In fact, it's about the exact opposite. This day is about those who were sent by our military to fight and didn't live long enough to become veterans. Every one of us knows the value that we place on our own lives. And so we find ourselves in awe of those who are braver than we are. Those who rose above their instincts of self-preservation and were willing to die for the sake of others. And it doesn't matter to us whether they were a volunteer militia of Minutemen or drafted into service for wars in Europe and Asia. Memorial Day is to honor the soldiers that did not come back alive. There's another group of people willing to risk their lives every day for the sake of others. These are the people of our country that we have taken to calling first responders, our law enforcement, our firefighters, our emergency medical services. Whether they are paid for their services or citizen volunteers, they take the same risks. And unfortunately, they too do not come home sometimes. There is no national day set aside to recognize these people. So there are 2 days that we unofficially adopted as our own private ceremonies to recognize these women and men who sacrificed their lives for the sake of their fellow citizens. In our individual departments, we get together in small groups before we go out for a Memorial Day parade. And in recent years, sometimes we say something on 9/11. But this year, things are different. This year, due to COVID-19, we cannot get together. This year, due to COVID-19, EMS has been called to heroic service. In just the past 2 months, nearly 100 have lost their lives. These are men and women that knew the danger and went in anyway, because they put the needs of others above their personal desire for safety.
I'm Dunellen Police Chief Dan Smith.
And I'm Lieutenant Christopher Beenders. This and every Memorial Day, the Dunellen Police Department remembers and honors all those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation in its pursuit of life, liberty, and the American dream.
We would also like to remember retired Dunellen Chief of Police Gerard Capella, who passed away this week. Chief Capella served the Borough of Dunellen with loyalty and honor for 27 years, ensuring the same pursuit of the American dream for the residents of our borough. Chief Capella leaves an indelible mark in our community and will be sorely missed.
Detail, attention, present, halt. Detail, order, halt.